Today we are going to talk about most common problems of why delayed shifting transmission and drivetrain issues. Welcome back to CarHelpout.com, your local mobile mechanic service. Near me here, it's a simple way to get an independent, certified mobile mechanic service who will come or travel to you at any location at your convenience. Ever press the gas and feel your car hesitate before shifting? That's delayed shifting, a common, frustrating issue. It turns smooth driving into a jerky, unpredictable experience, especially when pulling away from a stop or merging onto the highway. This lag isn't just for old cars. Even newer models with complex transmissions can suffer. Instead of instant acceleration, you get a sluggish response, making you question your car's reliability. Ignoring these early signs can turn a minor annoyance into a major, expensive repair. Recognizing delayed shifting early gives you a chance to fix the problem before it leaves you stranded. Slow shifting isn't just annoying. It's a warning sign that your transmission is in trouble. Hesitation can put you at risk, especially when merging or pulling into traffic where every second counts. Left unchecked, minor issues can snowball into catastrophic, costly failures. Poor shifting also means wasted fuel and a rough, unreliable ride. Addressing the problem early protects your safety, your wallet, and your peace of mind. Don't ignore slow shifting. Your car is telling you something important. I once bought a used SUV that seemed perfect until the shifting delays began. At first it hesitated only on cold mornings, but soon every drive was plagued by sluggish gear changes and sudden jolts. The worst was when it refused to go into reverse, leaving me stranded in my own driveway. That anxiety pushed me to research and learn about transmission problems. I discovered that delayed shifting often signals internal wear or neglected maintenance. My experience taught me, if you're struggling to come up with cash for an emergency auto repair, you're not alone. That's why auto car repair loans offer a convenient way to gain quick access to the money you need when an emergency pops up. With loans up to $2,500 to $5,000. Visit carhelpout.com/repair loan to get started today. Don't forget, if you ever need to sell your house fast and as-is condition anywhere in the U.S., either to stop foreclosure, avoid county tax auction, or unwanted house, go to Boracina.com/car helpout and get a relief under house burden. Don't forget, if your local small business or good service website needs more traffic exposure from Google, Yahoo, Bing, and other search engines, go to carhelpout.com/SEO. They can help you when it comes to local SEO and online digital marketing service consulting. Don't ignore the warning signs. Understanding the problem is the first step to avoiding a costly breakdown. Living with delayed shifting turns every drive into a stressful ordeal. You can't trust your car to accelerate when you need it, making even simple trips nerve-wracking. The constant jerks and hesitations sap your confidence and make passengers uncomfortable. It's not just inconvenient. It's embarrassing and exhausting. A failing transmission turns your car from a source of freedom into a daily worry. Fixing the issue is about reclaiming your peace of mind and restoring trust in your vehicle. Transmission fluid is crucial. Low, dirty, or wrong fluid causes most shifting problems. Old or burnt fluid can't lubricate or cool properly, leading to hesitation and damage. Using the wrong type of fluid is just as bad, causing pressure issues and internal wear. Always check your fluid first if you notice shifting delays. If it's low, dark, or smells burnt, change it immediately and check for leaks. Simple fluid maintenance can save you from expensive repairs and keep your transmission shifting smoothly. In today's vehicles, the transmission is not just a mechanical system, it is a highly advanced, computer-controlled marvel. The brain behind this operation is the Transmission Control Module, or TCM. This small computer constantly gathers data from various sensors, such as vehicle speed, engine RPM, throttle position, and even braking force. It uses this information to make split-second decisions about when to shift gears. When the TCM itself begins to fail, whether from electrical shorts, software glitches, or heat damage, its ability to make these decisions correctly is compromised, leading to erratic and delayed shifting. A faulty TCM can manifest in several confusing ways. It might struggle to determine the correct shift points, causing the engine to rev too high before a shift or shifting too early, bogging the engine down. Sometimes, the issue is most prominent between specific gears, like the common and jarring delay between first and second gear. The TCM might also fail to properly command the solenoids, resulting in slow gear engagement or even causing the transmission to enter a limp mode, where it gets stuck in a single gear, usually second or third. This is a protective measure, but it makes the car very difficult and unsafe to drive. Closely related to the TCM are the transmission solenoids. These are small, electronically controlled valves that act as the TCM's hands, physically directing the flow of hydraulic fluid to engage and disengage the different gear sets and clutch packs. Over time, these solenoids can become clogged with debris, or their internal electronics can simply wear out and fail. A faulty solenoid may become slow to open or close, or it might get stuck in one position. This directly interrupts the precise timing required for a smooth shift. A single bad solenoid can be responsible for a very specific problem, such as a delayed shift into third gear or a hard clunk when engaging reverse. Diagnosing these electronic issues typically requires more than just a visual inspection. A professional-grade OBD2 scanner is essential, as it can read specific trouble codes stored within the TCM. These codes can often point directly to a failing solenoid, a faulty sensor, or an internal TCM error. In some cases, the problem isn't even a faulty part, but rather outdated software. Manufacturers frequently release software updates or reflashes for the TCM to fix known shifting bugs and improve performance. This is why connecting a scanner and checking for codes is a critical step before assuming the worst and diving into a costly mechanical repair. While fluid and electronic issues are common culprits, sometimes the cause of delayed shifting lies deeper within the mechanical heart of the transmission. Automatic transmissions contain a series of clutch packs, which are made up of alternating steel and friction plates. When a gear is selected, hydraulic pressure squeezes a specific clutch pack together, locking a planetary gear set and engaging the gear. Over tens of thousands of miles, the friction material on these clutch plates inevitably wears down, much like the brake pads on your car. As this material thins, it takes more time and fluid pressure to fully engage the clutch, resulting in a noticeable slip or delay before the gear catches. This wear and tear is a natural part of a transmission's life cycle, but it can be severely accelerated by factors like overheating, driving aggressively, or operating with old, degraded fluid. When clutch packs become excessively worn, you will often experience symptoms like engine RPMs flaring up between shifts, a feeling of the car losing power, or a delayed thump as the gear finally engages. This slippage generates even more heat and debris, which contaminates the fluid and puts additional strain on other components, creating a vicious cycle of damage that can quickly lead to a complete transmission failure if not addressed. Another common mechanical failure point involves the seals and gaskets inside the transmission. These components are responsible for containing high-pressure hydraulic fluid within specific channels and circuits. Over time, these rubber and polymer seals can become hard, brittle, and cracked due to age and constant exposure to heat. When a seal fails, it creates an internal fluid leak. This leak prevents the system from building and holding the precise pressure needed to actuate a shift quickly. This is often the reason for delayed engagement when shifting from park into drive or reverse, especially when the vehicle is cold, as the cold seals are less pliable and more prone to leaking. Finally, the torque converter, which connects the engine to the transmission, can also be a source of shifting-related problems. Inside the torque converter is a component called a lockup clutch, designed to create a direct mechanical link at cruising speeds to improve fuel efficiency. If this lockup clutch or its controlling solenoid fails, it can cause shuddering, slipping, or strange shifting behavior. Furthermore, internal damage to the torque converter's fins can disrupt fluid flow and pressure throughout the entire transmission. These internal mechanical issues are typically the most serious and expensive to fix, often requiring a complete transmission rebuild or replacement by a qualified specialist. Sometimes the clunking, jerking, or delayed feeling you assume is a transmission problem is actually coming from a completely different part of your vehicle's drivetrain. A prime example of this is failing engine and transmission mounts. These mounts are basically heavy-duty rubber blocks designed to secure the engine and transmission to the vehicle's frame while also absorbing vibrations. Over time, the rubber can degrade, crack, or even completely separate because of age, heat, and stress. When this happens, the engine and transmission are no longer held firmly in place. This excessive movement can create some very misleading symptoms that honestly feel just like a bad shift. When you accelerate or shift gears, a worn mount allows the entire powertrain to rock or lurch way too much. That sudden clunk you feel when shifting from park into drive might not be the transmission gears slamming into place, but actually the sound of the whole engine and transmission assembly physically shifting and hitting the frame. Similarly, a jerky feeling during acceleration could be the powertrain moving back and forth under load. This problem is often most noticeable when you apply or release the throttle abruptly. A simple visual inspection can often reveal a failed mount, which is a far less intimidating and expensive repair than a full transmission overhaul. Another common imposter is a problem with the vehicle's axles or drive shaft. These components are responsible for transferring the rotational power from the transmission to the wheels. Constant velocity, or CV joints, on front-wheel drive axles, or universal joints, U-joints, on a rear-wheel drive shaft can wear out over time. When a CV joint goes bad, it can cause clicking sounds during turns and may introduce a vibration or shudder during acceleration that can easily be mistaken for a transmission slip or a torque converter issue. The feeling of a delay or hesitation might actually be the slack in a worn-out joint being taken up before power is fully delivered. Similarly, a drive shaft that's out of balance can create a speed-dependent vibration that feels like it's coming from deep within the drivetrain. This vibration can be misinterpreted as the transmission struggling to hold a gear at cruising speeds. If a U-joint fails completely, it can cause a loud clunking noise whenever the transmission shifts into gear, as the drive shaft suddenly engages. A mechanic can quickly diagnose these issues by putting the car on a lift and inspecting the axles and drive shaft for excessive play or signs of damage. Addressing these components can restore a smooth ride and eliminate symptoms you were sure were transmission-related. The sophisticated relationship between your car's engine and transmission means that a problem in one can often create symptoms in the other. Your vehicle's engine control unit, or ECU, and transmission control module, or TCM, are in constant communication. The ECU tells the TCM about engine speed, load, and throttle position, which the TCM then uses to decide the perfect moment to shift. If the ECU receives incorrect information from a faulty engine sensor, it can pass this bad data along to the TCM, causing it to make poor shifting decisions. This creates a classic case of mistaken identity, where the transmission is behaving poorly because of a problem with the engine. A failing mass airflow, or MAF, sensor, for instance, is a notorious culprit. The MAF sensor measures the amount of air entering the engine, which is critical for calculating the correct fuel mixture and engine load. If the MAF sensor is dirty or failing, it can send inaccurate load readings to the ECU. The ECU, believing the engine is under more or less load than it actually is, will then instruct the TCM to shift at the wrong times. This can result in delayed upshifts, harsh downshifts, or a general feeling of sluggishness and hesitation that feels exactly like an internal transmission problem, even though the transmission itself is perfectly healthy. Another critical sensor is the throttle position sensor, or TPS. This sensor tells the ECU exactly how far you are pressing the accelerator pedal. This information is vital for the TCM to know when you are demanding power and need to downshift, or when you are cruising and can upshift for better fuel economy. If the TPS is faulty, it might send erratic or delayed signals. The transmission might not downshift when you press the gas to overtake another car, or it may shift harshly and unpredictably during normal driving. The symptoms can be so similar to a failing transmission that, honestly, many people mistakenly pursue expensive transmission diagnostics when the real issue is a relatively inexpensive sensor. Ultimately, the entire system relies on clear communication. A simple engine misfire caused by a bad spark plug or ignition coil can also throw the whole process into disarray. The sudden change in engine speed and power during a misfire can confuse the TCM, leading it to shift erratically or hesitate. This is why a thorough diagnosis must always include checking the engine for trouble codes, not just the transmission. Before you condemn your transmission, it is absolutely essential to rule out these engine-related issues. Often, a simple engine tune-up or sensor replacement can magically fix a transmission that was never broken in the first place. When your car starts shifting slowly, it's easy to jump to the worst-case scenario. But a methodical approach to diagnosis can save you a lot of worry and money. The very first thing you should do is scan the vehicle for trouble codes. Modern cars are packed with computers that monitor nearly every system, including the transmission. Even a basic, affordable OBD2 scanner can pull generic codes that might point you in the right direction. A P0700 code, for example, is a general transmission fault code that tells you the transmission control module, or TCM, has detected a problem. This is your cue to dig deeper, as more specific codes related to solenoids, sensors, or pressure issues are often stored within the TCM itself, which a more advanced scanner can read. After checking for codes, the next logical step is to inspect the transmission fluid, which is often the root of the problem. For many automatic transmissions, you can check the fluid level and condition using a dipstick under the hood, usually while the engine is running and the transmission is warm. Pull the dipstick, wipe it clean, reinsert it fully, and then pull it out again to check the level. More importantly, observe the fluid's condition. Healthy automatic transmission fluid, or ATF, is typically a bright, translucent red. If your fluid is dark brown or black, gritty, or has a burnt toast smell, it's a clear indication of internal wear and overheating, and a fluid change is urgently needed. Beyond the basics, one of the most powerful tools at your disposal is information, specifically in the form of Technical Service Bulletins, or TSBs. Manufacturers issue TSBs to dealerships to provide information on how to diagnose and fix common known problems with specific vehicle models that may not be serious enough to warrant a full recall. Many shifting issues, especially with newer automatic and CVT transmissions, are well documented in TSBs. A quick online search for your car's year, make, model, and the words transmission TSB can reveal if there's a known issue with a simple fix, like a software update for the TCM that a dealer can perform. This initial phase of diagnosis is all about gathering clues without picking up a wrench. By combining the electronic data from a code scan, the physical evidence from a fluid check, and the documented history from TSBs, you can build a comprehensive picture of what might be going wrong. This information is invaluable, whether you plan to tackle the repair yourself or take it to a professional. Walking into a repair shop armed with this knowledge allows you to have a much more informed conversation with the mechanic, preventing you from being sold a costly repair you may not actually need. It puts you in control of the diagnostic process from the very beginning. Once you've covered the initial diagnostic steps, there are a few simple hands-on checks you can perform to rule out some of the common imposters that mimic transmission problems. One of the easiest is to inspect your engine and transmission mounts. With the vehicle in park and the parking brake firmly set, have a friend watch the engine while you briefly and gently rev it. If the engine rocks or jumps violently, it's a strong sign that one or more of your mounts have failed. You can also perform a visual inspection, looking for cracked, separated, or oil-soaked rubber on the mounts where they connect the powertrain to the vehicle's frame. A bad mount is a common source of clunking and jerky sensations. Another area to investigate is the potential for vacuum leaks, especially on older vehicles. The transmission in some cars uses a vacuum modulator connected to the engine's intake manifold to help determine shift points based on engine load. If the vacuum hose leading to this modulator is cracked, disconnected, or leaking, it can cause erratic and delayed shifting. You can inspect these hoses for any obvious signs of wear or damage. Listening for a hissing sound around the engine bay while the car is running can also help you pinpoint a potential vacuum leak that could be wreaking havoc on your transmission's behavior without you even realizing it. While these DIY checks can be very insightful, it is crucial to know your limits and recognize when it's time to call in a professional. If your fluid is clean, your codes are clear, and you can't find any obvious external problems, the issue is likely internal to the transmission. This is where specialized tools and expertise become necessary. A reputable transmission shop can perform a hydraulic pressure test, which involves connecting gauges to various ports on the transmission to measure the fluid pressure in different circuits. This test can precisely diagnose internal leaks from bad seals or a weak fluid pump. Ultimately, if the problem points toward worn clutch packs, a failing torque converter, or a faulty internal valve body, this is not a job for the average home mechanic. These repairs require removing and disassembling the entire transmission, which is a complex and labor-intensive process. Trying to tackle a transmission rebuild without the proper tools, knowledge, and an immaculately clean workspace is a recipe for disaster. A professional will not only have the right equipment, but also the experience to correctly identify the worn components and reassemble the unit to factory specifications, ensuring the repair is done right the first time. When you're facing delayed shifting, it's always best to start with the simplest and most cost-effective solutions first. The most powerful fix in your arsenal, and often the most overlooked, is addressing the transmission fluid. If your diagnosis revealed that the fluid is low, dark, or smells burnt. A fluid and filter change is your logical first step. This single service can fix more problems than you might imagine. Replacing old, degraded fluid with fresh fluid of the correct type restores the hydraulic pressure needed for crisp shifts, improves cooling, and provides proper lubrication. For many cars with minor hesitation or slightly delayed engagement, a simple fluid change is all it takes to bring the transmission back to life and make it feel responsive again. If a fluid change doesn't solve the problem, the next area to investigate is the transmission's software. The Transmission Control Module, or TCM, acts as the brain. And just like your phone or computer, its software can have bugs or become outdated. Manufacturers frequently release software updates, known as reflashes, to correct known shifting problems, improve shift logic, and enhance overall performance. These updates can often be performed at a dealership in under an hour. This is an especially common solution for newer vehicles with complex multi-speed automatics or CVTs. Before you assume you have a major mechanical failure, checking for available software updates can be a surprisingly simple and effective fix for many electronic-related shifting woes. Moving up the complexity scale, if your diagnostic codes point to a specific shifting circuit, the problem may lie with the transmission solenoids. These small electro-hydraulic valves control the flow of fluid to engage the gears. They can get clogged with debris or simply fail electronically over time. Replacing a faulty solenoid is more involved than a fluid change, as it often requires removing the transmission oil pan to access the valve body where they are located. However, this repair is still significantly less expensive and invasive than a full transmission rebuild. Targeting and replacing a single bad solenoid can often resolve very specific issues, like a harsh 2-3 shift or a delay going into reverse, restoring smooth operation. It is important to approach these fixes in a logical order. Start with the fluid, as it is the foundation of the transmission's health. If that doesn't work, investigate software updates, as they can correct underlying logic errors without any major mechanical work. Only after ruling those out should you move on to component replacement like solenoids. This step-by-step process ensures you are not spending money on more complex repairs when a simpler solution might have been sufficient. This methodical approach is the smartest way to tackle the problem, saving you time, money, and unnecessary stress while you work to get your car shifting properly once again. If you have exhausted all the simpler fixes, fresh fluid, software updates, and even solenoid replacement, and your transmission is still shifting slowly or slipping, it is time to confront the more serious possibility of significant internal mechanical wear. This is the point where you are likely dealing with worn-out clutch packs, damaged planetary gear sets, a failing torque converter, or compromised internal seals. These are not minor issues. They represent the physical degradation of the transmission's core components. At this stage, the only viable solutions are the heavy lifts, a complete transmission rebuild, or a full replacement. This is a major repair, but it's often the only way to truly fix deep-seated mechanical problems. A transmission rebuild involves a specialist technician completely removing the transmission from the vehicle and disassembling it piece by piece on a workbench. Each component is meticulously cleaned, inspected for wear, and measured against factory specifications. Any part that is worn, damaged, or known to be a common failure point, such as clutches, seals, gaskets, and often solenoids, is replaced with a new or refurbished part. The transmission is then carefully reassembled, tested, and reinstalled in the vehicle. The major advantage of a rebuild is that it can be tailored to fix the specific problems your transmission has, and it can often be more cost-effective than a full replacement. The alternative to a rebuild is to replace the entire transmission. You generally have a few options here. You could purchase a brand new transmission from the dealer, but this is almost always the most expensive route. A more popular choice is a remanufactured unit. A remanufactured transmission is one that has been rebuilt in a factory setting, and it often comes with a solid warranty. Another option is a used transmission from a salvage yard. While this is the cheapest option, it is also the riskiest, as you have little information about its history or internal condition. Deciding between a rebuild and a replacement depends on several factors, including the nature of the failure, the availability of parts, your budget, and the expertise of your local repair shops. If you have a trusted transmission specialist nearby, a rebuild can be an excellent choice. However, a high-quality remanufactured unit can offer a faster turnaround time and a more robust warranty. Regardless of the path you choose, addressing severe internal damage is a critical investment, ensuring you can get back on the road with a transmission you can finally trust. Your car's transmission is not just a random assembly of gears and fluid. It is the very heartbeat of your drivetrain, the crucial link that translates engine power into forward motion. The way it shifts, the sounds it makes, and the feelings it communicates through the chassis are vital signs of your vehicle's overall health. Learning to pay close attention to these signals is one of the most important habits a car owner can develop. A slight hesitation today could be the precursor to a complete failure tomorrow. By being an attentive driver, you can catch these early warning signs, like a minor lag or a subtle change in shift quality, long before they escalate into a crisis that leaves you stranded and facing a monumental repair bill. This proactive awareness is your first and best line of defense. Taking early action is the key to avoiding the financial heartache that comes with major transmission work. When you first notice that your shifts are feeling sluggish or delayed, resist the temptation to turn up the radio and ignore it. Instead, see it as an opportunity. A prompt investigation that leads to a simple fluid and filter change might cost a couple of $100s, but it could prevent a catastrophic internal failure that would require a $4,000 rebuild. Think of transmission maintenance not as an expense, but as an investment in the longevity and reliability of your vehicle. Addressing small problems early is always smarter, cheaper, and less stressful than letting them fester into big ones. Staying ahead of transmission problems means embracing a proactive maintenance schedule rather than a reactive repair mindset. Don't wait for symptoms to appear before you think about your transmission fluid. Consult your owner's manual for the recommended service intervals and stick to them, or even shorten them, if you frequently drive in harsh conditions like heavy traffic or hilly terrain. Regular fluid changes, checking for software updates, and addressing minor leaks or strange noises immediately will keep your transmission operating at its peak. This consistent care ensures the intricate mechanical and electronic components are protected, helping you avoid the common pitfalls that lead to delayed shifting and premature wear. Ultimately, the power to preserve your transmission lies with you. By understanding the common causes of delayed shifting, knowing how to spot the symptoms, and committing to timely action, you can save yourself thousands of dollars and countless headaches. Your car is a complex machine, but you don't have to be a master mechanic to be a responsible owner. Listen to your vehicle, trust your instincts when something feels off, and invest in preventative maintenance. Doing so will ensure your transmission continues to beat strong for years to come, providing the smooth, reliable, and safe driving experience you depend on every single day. CarHelpout.com is the best way to get a mobile mechanic auto car repair service shop on wheels to come to you. Whether you're stuck at home or on the side of the road, our mobile mechanics are ready to assist you. We bring the repair shop to your location to save you time and hassle. We also provide emergency vehicle roadside assistance, such as car battery jump start, flat tire road service, running out of gas service if your vehicle stops or has a problem on the side of the road or any business parking lot. We understand that car troubles can be stressful, so we aim to provide quick and efficient solutions to get you back on the road as soon as possible. Additionally, we offer pre-purchase used car buying inspection checkup services review. Whether you're buying from local dealership or private car owner seller, either from Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, automotive auction, or anywhere else, we can help you with PPI inspection. We can come to you at any location, whether it's your home driveway, your office parking lot, or even if you're stranded on the roadside.
CarHelpout.com. It's the convenience.